Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Sean Combs, all of these reincarnations, all those name changes are attached to really bad deeds.
Everything in life, you're gonna have people that are bad and people that are good. You have to choose your side.
The trailer there for the 4-part Netflix docuseries Sean Combs: The Reckoning. It examines the rise and fall of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Earlier this year, Combs was convicted and sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison for transporting individuals across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. He was acquitted on additional sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Sean Combs: The Reckoning includes never-before-seen footage filmed in the days leading up to his arrest. It's directed by Houston native and Emmy Award-winning documentarian Alexandria Stapleton, who you might remember joined us last year to talk about her HBO film God Save Texas, about the oil industry's impact on black families. Alex, welcome back to Houston Matters. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me back.
Your co-executive producer on Sean Combs: The Reckoning is Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent. How did you come to collaborate with him?
Well, I had met 50 in the past. I'd interviewed him for another project that I did with Eminem called How Music Got Free. And he's a massive thinker. He's very, very deep. And it was one of like the longest interviews I've done on a film. So we then, I started working with this company, developing other ideas. And as all of that was happening, the Cassie lawsuit dropped. And on that day, I immediately, it was interesting to me I was blown away just like everybody else, in the public space. And so I kind of started wrapping my brain about, trying to figure out about covering that story somehow. And then he was also very public on Instagram, on social media, that he wanted to, or he was developing an idea or a documentary about Sean Combs. And so I just talked to him about it. And I was like, do you feel like there's a world here where we could collaborate and make something together? And we had a very long conversation about how we both saw it, and that it was going to be very complex and very nuanced, and to really dig deep into it and not make it just super salacious and right. Two-dimensional. And so then we were off to the races.
The hip-hop world that Combs and Jackson are from has had its share of rivalries and controversies, and these two men had a well-documented and long-standing feud. Did you have any qualms about taking on a project like this and potentially inserting yourself into that feud?
Definitely not inserting myself into that feud. I wasn't. I knew that would be a part of how people might perceive the project, but I think along the way we both really felt like let the film speak for itself. And I think that most people, when they watch it, are actually kind of surprised that it's not really what I think they thought it was going to be. And 50 was, he let me do my thing, and it wasn't, there were no conversations about like, how do we morph truths or turn this into something other than just a really strong piece of investigative journalism.
And it features, among other things, intimate footage of Combs in the days before his arrest. This was footage that was shot with his knowledge, obtained legally. Still, were there challenges in obtaining and verifying materials that you used in the film?
There's the vetting process of getting materials in, illegally clearing them, doing what you need to do or what we needed to do to protect ourselves in the film. That's a process. So, the challenge, I would say, goes into to figuring out, sometimes the challenge is in getting materials in is more about letting people know that, if you have something, I'm more than happy to view it. But I don't know if challenging is the right word. This was obtained, and we did everything that we could to make sure that our T's were crossed and our I's were dotted, so that we could put it into the film.
We're talking with Alexandria Stapleton, Houston native and documentary filmmaker, and the director and an executive producer of the Netflix docuseries Sean Combs: The Reckoning. What did it mean to you personally to tackle this subject as a woman examining the modern world of hip-hop that and Combs' legal troubles certainly underscore this, hasn't exactly always been very favorable towards women.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexities in that. And I think that when Cassie did drop her lawsuit, for me, being a woman in the entertainment industry, working in the entertainment industry, and being in a post, kind of Me Too society, I was very curious to see, I feel like this was a little bit of a stress test. Like, what would the Me Too movement mean for women in the space of hip hop? But Sean Combs's role in popular culture, it kind of is more than just hip hop. It's television, it's reality TV, it's music, it's film, it's politics. I mean, he was so present. He was so omnipresent in American pop culture for decades. So, yes, it's very much rooted in hip hop, but he kind of spanned. So he was bigger than just hip hop.
Do you in the process of developing a project like this, is there a moment where you're wondering, am I skirting a line here between giving a voice to a survivor of something and presenting that comprehensive, nuanced portrait that you want to present?
That's always kind of the balance, making sure that you're giving a voice to the voiceless. I think that for many people that participated in this film, they had never been heard before. Their stories were, sort of erased for some of them. Sometimes people, had filed civil suits or, lawsuits, but no one had really heard their voice and had really given them the time to really storytell and to give their perspective. And so I think that was really, really important to the film to allow them to have the space to do that.
Any tough decisions to make in light of this project being about someone who is mired in ongoing legal proceedings?
Tough decisions. Well, the decision was made that we were going to wait for it to come out, after the trial. Mm-hmm. I think that it's really interesting that so many projects were really rushed, to get out, between Cassie dropping her lawsuit and then, then dropped like right after the indictment. For me, it was the responsible thing to do, to not be on a conveyor belt, on a timeline. And that's why it was such a great partnership with Netflix, because it gave me the time to really work on this story. And then when we felt like, okay, it's ready to come out, we put it out. And because I think that the story has so much more life to it. He has, dozens and dozens and dozens of civil suits ahead of him. So I think that, there's going to probably be more to come out over the next years or so.
Do you think there is something you have in this process learned about either Combs or the hip-hop world or entertainment generally that you didn't know going into it?
It's just pretty remarkable how, kind of unchecked power, the power that he had. I mean, he contributed so much to hip-hop and to the culture. I feel like we worked really hard to put that part in the story and to represent that. But it's really interesting how so many people were siloed in the ecosystem that he built. And so many people, I think, felt isolated and felt alone in what they were going through. And I think the big surprise has been kind of, the reaction of people in the film being able to listen to other stories and to kind of see each other, in interviews, and to feel like connected and not so alone anymore. Like, oh wow, I really the cast kind of like relating to other people that they didn't even know.
Bottom line, what do you want viewers to take away from this?
To me, the bigger picture, it goes beyond Sean Combs. I think that the takeaway that was really important for me was to really kind of like hold a mirror up to our society and to us as a general public. And what do we condone? What do we condemn? What do we allow to happen? What do we allow people with celebrity to do? And when we know that a celebrity is being accused of really awful things, like how do we handle that as a society? And I think that's kind of the bigger meta point of the series for me.
Alexandria Stapleton, the director and an executive producer of Sean Combs' The Reckoning, streaming now on Netflix. Alex, thanks.
Thank you.